It's simple, really. Great stories with a good cup of tea. It's the Tea with Mike show. Welcome to another episode of the Tea with Mike show. Joining me for this one was Ellen. Themes of the show included music and education. So sit back, grab a cup of tea, and enjoy. Unless I'm all over the place today. Do you like drinking tea?
I do love drinking tea.
Perfect. I'll ask you about that. Sweet. Excellent. All right. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Tea with Mike show. Joining me for this one is Ellen. Welcome to Tea with Mike, Ellen.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. So let's just jump right in. Do you want to start by telling everyone a little bit about you?
Sure. My name is Jennifer. My artist name is Ellen Kelli. Jennifer, I always tell people, is the early childhood educator, and Ellen Kelli is the singer. And I think if you follow me, you can probably see a difference in the two personalities.
What? I was agreeing with what you said.
Yeah. I've been doing early childhood education. I'm in my 10th year now. And I just started recording in December, singing. So my name, Ellen Kelli, everybody always asks me, how did I come up with that? And it's actually my middle names.
Wow, okay.
When I was growing up, I didn't really care for them. I thought that they were old-fashioned and just, they're not cool. But now that I am older, I kind of just came to terms with them, and I was like, Isaac was trying to help me pick a artist name, and the one that we wanted to use was taken. And so I'm big on being original and just being yourself. And so I was like, hey, I'm just going to use my middle name.
Awesome. So let's just go back a little bit. What name did you originally want to use for your kind of artist name?
We were going to do a combination of my middle name and my last name, which would have been Kelly Quinn. But it was taken.
So when you were figuring this out and probably doing a few Google searches, what type of genre of music does this other person play?
It's not music.
Oh, okay, all right.
It's not music.
Awesome. So before you got started in music, education and probably still is kind of big in your world. So let's go back a little bit before that. What was some of your kind of favorite subjects in school?
I love English. I love reading. I love spelling. I love words. I'm a nerd. I love writing, anything like that. When I was in high school, I loved reading Shakespeare and Edgar Allan Poe, and I actually have their complete works books, and I actually read them. But yeah, when I was doing college, my favorite thing to do was to write papers and do the research on all that.
Also, like yourself, I also like Shakespeare. Still am, but I did a lot of acting and theatre when I was growing up in the United Kingdom. I performed on the oldest working Georgian stage in the United Kingdom, so on wooden stages, and it was so cool. Awesome. And I did some Shakespearean stuff. It's really hard, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it?
I like to, when I look at Edgar Allan Poe, I try to figure out his phrasing and the timing of his lines and stuff like that, just to figure out what was going on in his head when he wrote it.
But it's Shakespeare's definitely one of those things where you need to have a lot of patience.
Oh, yeah.
But if you can get beyond the initial struggle and you really start to unravel the text and go to find those deeper connections, it's a piece of mastery within itself, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Did you have a favorite piece of Shakespearean work?
It's gonna sound really boring, but I love Romeo and Juliet. I do.
It's a classic, right? Awesome. So in school it was kind of anything to do with writing and history were your kind of favorite subjects, and then so when you were in school, did you ever everyone has the debate, what am I gonna do in my life? So what was some of the things in those early, when you were thinking about it early on, what were some of the careers that you wanted to be?
I always wanted to be a singer.
Oh,
Always. Ever since I had a little blue record player, and I would listen to Lionel Richie and Diana Ross, and like ever since I can remember, I was probably like 5 years old, like growing up, just listening to music in my bedroom. But I also knew that I wanted to teach. 'Cause there was a lot of neighborhood kids that I would kind of, when I was a little older, I would just kind of babysit them because their parents would lock them out of the house. And I was like, yeah,
that's
I
insane.
was like their leader for the day, I guess. So yeah, and when I was in high school, I actually had a bunch of songs that I had written, and my mom was the judge. I had like this little key, like a smiley face was good and a check mark was okay, and
That's
yeah,
awesome.
but I threw them away because
No
I
way.
never thought that I was going to be a singer.
So so then obviously, so again, all the creative and writing stuff within school, and then so were there any people that like influenced your decision to pursue a degree in education, or was it purely your own intuition and self-discovery?
Actually, I have a daughter, and I had dropped her off at preschool, and everyone was just like upset, and I was asking them questions, and here one of the teachers had quit. Um, and so I was like, I wanted to be a teacher, like I said, in high school. I was going to go to West Virginia to be a teacher, but I wound up getting pregnant and married. You know, life happens.
Right.
And so now I'm dropping her off at preschool, and this teacher had quit, and I said to them, I will do it. You know, if I have to go back to school, I will go back to school. And I did, and that kind of got the ball rolling. Like they called me the next week,
Oh,
and
wow.
I went through and got hired, started college. Yeah.
Awesome. And then so what is it about children that you love the most?
Well, early childhood, so I can teach anything from 6 weeks old up to fourth grade.
Cool.
I love the little ones. School ages are okay, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm not against school age kids, but I like the preschool and younger, just because they're excited about learning. They genuinely want to know why you're doing things and how things work, and they're excited to come to school to see their friends. It's not like when they get older and they have to go, and now you're sitting at a desk and things just get boring. But their enthusiasm, I guess.
Nice. So the curiosity, the friendship,
Yes.
and the self-discovery, and
Yes.
all those magical moments, both good.
Absolutely.
And that also, that's kind of cool. And then so as well as education and children, and music's a big part of your kind of life. But before we kind of dive deep into your music, I wanted to know more broadly, what role can music play in the classroom? How can education and music combine?
Oh, there are so many songs. If you just Google children's, like, say, math songs, there's so many. Music is math. And even if like all the kids are just upset and they're all crying and they're mad because we had to come in from outside, if you just start singing a silly song, they snap out of it. Like, it's just amazing what music does. I mean, there's songs that you can teach them for colors, and even in different languages. Yeah.
So it's awesome. So you're saying it's a powerful tool to help educate in a different context almost.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, right. Because as we all know, there's lots of different types of learners, like visual learners, and people
Yes.
that work best if you write it down and all that sort of thing. So, and also music is great for kids that need that extra help, like autism and
Yes. Yes.
so on and so forth, right? For all the sensory stuff. Cool. So that's a little bit about your education or what kind of beginnings. When was the defining point, or what was the pivot point where you decided that you wanted to share your gift of music with the world?
So I've been thinking about it for a while. I got back into writing maybe almost 2 years ago. I started writing again, just poems and like just my thoughts, and every once in a while another song would pop into my head and I would think, gosh, I really should get back into doing this. And so it started, I would go on YouTube and I would look for different arrangements of songs that I liked, that weren't the radio version. And so I would sing a cover of it. And I would put on Facebook like, hey, like this, and I'll send you through Messenger. And the response to that it was insane. Like, to me, it blew my mind that these people actually liked my singing. And then I sent one to Isaac and I think John, and he actually told me to go in the studio. And I thought, okay, and I started looking at studios, that were around me, and I found one and it was reasonable. And so I went in and I'm not going to stop now.
Awesome. And then, so for context for the people that will be watching this, who is Isaac to you in your life, and how did you guys meet?
So Isaac is Isaac Mashman. He's phenomenal. He has our Link and Grow group. Obviously, he has his own podcast, which I was listening to before he made the Link and Grow group. And then the reason why I had sent him the song is because I found out that he was going down the music avenue himself. And so, my friends were telling me it sounded great, and I love my friends' opinions, of course, but I wanted someone's opinion that was actually going to be doing this, as their business as well. Someone that would give me like an honest, genuine, not just an opinion, but facts, like this is what you should do. Yeah.
Honest opinion. And how did you guys first get connected? Was it through social media? What was it?
Yeah, it was definitely through social media. I believe I saw him on Twitter and just loved. He was kind of like really motivational, kicking the pants, and so I started following him there, and then I found him on Facebook. Yeah.
Awesome. And then, so obviously this is the Tea with Mike show. There's always a tea element to the show. So I definitely have to ask you, what's your favorite type of tea?
Right now, in this cup, I have strawberry dragon fruit. It's actually from Dunkin' Donuts. It's new. It's a green tea. And so they put the strawberry dragon fruit flavor in it. But ordinarily, I'm just a good old-fashioned cup of hot Lipton. Like, if before I go to the studio, I'm drinking that.
Nice. And then seeing as you're a singer, and I know a little bit from my days working, doing acting, and then also working behind the scenes professionally in theatre, how important is maintaining your voice, and how can tea, even perhaps green tea, as we all know, green tea has lots of health benefits. How can that help one's voice?
Well, definitely, you can feel your vocal cords getting strained. You can feel it. And so when you drink that, it just calms everything down in your throat. So like I said, I drink it before I go, but then also if I feel myself, because I sing all the time. I am singing in the car at 5 o'clock in the morning. People probably think I'm nuts. But
whatever motivates you, right?
Yeah. So I drink it, I try to drink at least a cup a day just to keep it under control.
So nice. And so, if on average, how many cups of tea would you say you drink a week?
A week? Probably like 6. Sometimes more, depending on what I'm doing. If it's winter and it's cold out and I'm sitting and reading a book, definitely I'm sipping on hot tea or even hot coffee sometimes.
So it just kind of depends.
Yeah.
Awesome. So if I was figuring out how many cups of tea, I probably drink 6 to 8 cups a day times 7. So yes, I probably drink between 50 to 56 cups a week.
Yeah, had me beat.
over 200 cups a month. So so basically nearly 2,500 cups of tea. Yeah. Wow.
Oh. Oh, so now I can answer that question on Twitter the next time you ask it. I'll get it right.
Oh, Oh, see, we're making content right here, like in the middle of an episode. Yeah, awesome. So the tea fact for the to bring some value for the people watching this is some cultures add butter to their tea. In the Himalayas, it's traditional to add butter, and it's usually from a yak to milky black tea. The salts help people living at high altitudes stay hydrated. It's called po cha in Tibet, and it's the country's unofficial national beverage, and that comes from mentalfloss.com. So it's always cool to learn about the art. Tea is an art within itself, so it's cool to learn new things. What did you think?
That's interesting. I might throw some butter in my tea next time I have a cup of tea.
I'm not sure I'd like butter in my tea, you know, because it's quite greasy. And
I would try it. I probably wouldn't like it either, but I'll try it.
Because I'm not a big fan of like popcorn, and popcorn has a lot of butter and salt.
What? Oh, I love cheddar popcorn.
You like popcorn?
Oh.
Next, let's dive a little deeper into your music. Do you want to talk to people a little bit about the process of creating your own songs and a little bit about the style of music that you produce?
Sure. So when I write a song, sometimes I sit down, I think to myself, I just need to write a song because I haven't done it in a while. Most of the time, my songs just come to me. I actually have a song coming out next week. The pre-save code will be up Friday. But when I wrote that song, I actually woke up with that lyrics going through my mind. So I had to just sit up, and I usually just sit there and think about the words that are coming to me. I write them down, and then I sing it out because I usually hear the tune right away with it. Very rarely do I ever get words with no tune.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'll write it out and then I'll sing it into my voice recorder, and then I just work on it from there, tweak it, like making sure that the words fit with the rhythm that I have for the song, scratching things out, rewriting things in. And then after I feel like I have it right, I'll get the metronome going, and then I'll sing it to that so I have the timing right. And then after I do that, I'm ready to get that into the studio.
So if I've understood you correctly, what you're saying is it's very randomized, your process. It could happen, like you said, at 3 a.m. in bed. It could happen when you're busy making dinner. It could happen when you're watching a movie, right?
Several times it's happened to me driving home from work. The one song that I wrote about my ex happened, a diesel truck pulled in front of me, and boom, I just had this song, and I had to get my phone, and I know I'm going to get pulled over by a cop one day. Because I'm like this. I'm like, officer, I'm really just singing, I promise. But yeah, so I sang that song out on driving home from work. And that's how that song came.
So I guess what skills or techniques do you think you've developed if like your songwriting process is quite randomized? How do you capture all of these random thoughts and like keep working it? I know you said you record it into a voice recorder, but can you maybe dive a touch deeper into that area?
Yeah, so I always have my phone with me. Like, it's very rare that I don't have my phone with me. So I'll definitely pull that out and I'll sing it. If I don't have my phone with me, like there's been a couple times, I'll just keep singing it over and over in my head. Like, whether if it's somewhere where I can sing it out loud, I sing it out loud. If it's not, I'll just keep repeating it over and over in my head until I can at least get the lyrics written down. Because it's happened in the classroom, and I'm there with a little Post-it note writing down these lyrics. So yeah, anything I can do to just make sure that I don't lose the thought.
Awesome. And then so let's take it back the other way. So obviously at the very start you thought you were just going to be teaching children and be in education, which is a fantastic area to be in within itself. But then there was that point where it was like, hang on a minute, I still want to do education, but I also want to pursue something else that I love. So then the question is kind of how important is it for people to never give up on their dreams? We'll start there. Yeah.
It's super important. Like, if I would have stopped when I threw those songs away when I was in high school, I wouldn't be here right now. Like, I just, oh gosh, I want to say so much and I can't say it all at one time. So I'm older. I'm not young. You know, I'm not 20. Let's just be honest. So I always had in the back of my mind, like I said, I'm always singing. I never stopped singing. I always had that in me. And so when I started writing again a couple years ago, you know, it was like I never stopped. Like I knew how to do it because I continued to sing. And I even make up my own songs in the classroom. So it's not like I wasn't making stuff. Yeah, like on the fly, I'll just make stuff up in my head. So I was always in practice.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I never really gave up on it. But yeah, until I was told, you know, that I should go in the studio.
Okay.
My brain is like hurt.
That's so good. And so, therefore, what advice would you give someone who is perhaps hesitant about starting a project or a goal that they dream of working towards?
I would say you have to take the first step. You don't know, I mean, and even if you fail the first time, it's a learning experience. You don't know what the outcome is going to be until you take that first step. I have so many goals that if I achieve one, I have another one lined up. If the one that I'm trying doesn't work out, I have another one lined up. Yeah, you can't stop. Like you always have to have your focus on something that you want to achieve.
Well, awesome. And then so obviously it's a little bit more crystal clear for you, because it was kind of something that was always a part of you. Let's say throughout all of the different things that you were doing. But do you have any maybe tips or ways that somebody could get their idea out, maybe from their head into a little bit more of a so obviously industry and education, a more like a structured process, like writing it down on a piece of paper, for example, emptying the thoughts from their head so they have more brain power to think about.
For goals that they're working on?
Yeah. So the hesitant because it's all up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how can they transfer all the thoughts up here into something a little bit more structured? I guess that's a good thing.
No, I would definitely. I mean, I'm a writer, so obviously I write it out. Definitely, like visualize it. And go from a big picture, narrow it down step by step. Like, what do I need to do? Like, so my goal was singing. Once I realized that I wanted to go in a studio, so I knew I needed to save money. So I just started breaking down like a budget. I need to make a budget, and then this money goes here, and this money goes here. Yeah, and however that needs to look, but definitely writing it down. And someone, I don't remember, but I saw like they took a screenshot of their goal, and that was their wallpaper on their phone. If that's what you need to do to wake up in the morning and you check your phone and you're like, that's what I'm working towards, you know, and you're constantly reminded of it, whatever you got to do. If you have to put Post-it notes around, you know, step 1, this is what I'm doing today. And then step 2, this is what I'm going to do tomorrow. Just get it out of your heads and write it down, organize however that works for you so that you can start working towards it.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to the last point that you said, because Tea with Mike started as kind of a college project, and it was something, and so I took the college assignment, and then this thing started to, like, I guess, build, and I'm a visual person, so I a lot of Post-its, I have a notice board, I have a world domination notebook, and over time I gradually got these random thoughts out of my head and like started stitching it together.
Yeah, it's almost like if you're writing a paper and you have to make that rough outline to
Yes.
follow. So you write your paper step by step. Yeah.
Awesome. And then so 2020 has kind of been a bit of a strange year for lots of people in lots of ways. We don't really need to go into the details because everyone already knows them. But what are kind of some of the goals that you've got, let's say, for the rest of this year, and then maybe 3 years, and then 5 years?
So for the rest of this year, I started on something during the quarantine time. I wanted to learn more sign language. Not only for my classroom, obviously, I use signs in my classroom because some of the kids are nonverbal, but just for me in general as a growth opportunity to, I mean, even with music, you know, if my career would go, you know, I might meet people that need me to communicate with them, you know, that can't speak either or that are deaf, and I would have that under my belt. I would have that knowledge. 3 years, I would love to see. I love making music, and I don't want to sound like I want to become this huge superstar overnight. If it happens, awesome. But my goal with my music is just to connect with people. I feel like the songs that I write are very relatable. And so if I can connect with one person and just help them through something that they're going through, that's my goal.
Awesome. Anything else you want to add there, or are those kind of the main two for now?
Yeah. I mean, some part of me is always going to be attached to teaching, whether it's in administration somehow or I don't know, but my heart will always be there somehow. But I really am into this music thing now. When I got in that booth, I was like, I'm home.
Nice.
So
yeah.
honestly, like I'm really focused on that right now.
And I love following your journey on like Instagram, and my favorite part about it is like how real it is, how authentic it is, and that's what I like most about the content that you're putting out, because I can see the process and the meanings behind all the words that you're putting, and it comes from the heart versus lots of time like on social media. I would call it like artificial posting. It doesn't have any significance because it's going for. If I talk about making money, like getting rich, trading these and so on, like because they're going for the likes, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And part of my music too, what I decided to do when I released the song, I write a story behind the lyrics because I want people to understand where I was when I wrote that song. So what I've been doing is writing it out and posting it. But I also have a YouTube now, so like I'm doing little videos talking about what the song is about.
It's so smart. So documenting the behind the scenes as well as because I also and I'm learning that too with what I'm doing is it brings in different people that they might not necessarily have time. As sad as it is sometimes after the amount of effort it takes to make it, they might not have time to watch a 30-minute episode, but they might have time to watch like a 3-minute clip of of me juggling teacups backstage or whatever. That was just a random thought that came into my head.
Do it.
Yeah. It could get messy. Story behind it. Nice. And so as we kind of come towards the end of the episode today, is I'll throw it out there in case there's any questions that you'd like to ask me.
Yeah, like what made you decide that you wanted to do a storytelling show? Because I love it. I love every episode. I'm so into listening to why people do what they do.
It's all and as I get better at the conversation flow too, it's getting better too. But really because I've always liked entertainment. I worked in that industry. Theatre was a big part of like my childhood. Just like your heart was in music, my heart was in theatre. I kind of love the culture and the diversity behind anything entertainment related. And then so there was that, and then there was also what I experienced through when working, and how lots of people are so immersed in the digital device these days. They've basically, unfortunately, forgotten how to host a conversation, and then combined with struggling to come up with a college project idea, and a couple of other smaller, minute details, all of those mini stories and circumstances led me to the moment that we're talking here today. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I really enjoy your show, so I'm glad you did.
Appreciate it. Is there any kind of advice or any closing thoughts that you'd like to leave people with today?
Yeah, just like I said before, if you're thinking about doing something and you're questioning it, just take a step. Just do it. I mean, the worst you could do is fail and learn, and then just pick yourself up and try again.
That's great advice, because even if you fail, there'll be still pieces from that they can use to help you towards whatever the next thing is to shoot.
You know what didn't work, so now you know what to try next.
Right. Well, Ellen/Jennifer, and maybe I should call the episode Ellen/Jennifer. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
No problem, guys, and you'll be able to watch this episode at teawithmike.com. Thanks again. It's the Tea with Mike show.